Such is the nature of American politics. No sooner is one election over than a new one is getting underway. It's just under 2 years until the next presidential election. And while there is a lot that we do not know, like who will actually run, history can teach us a lot about who might win.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Looking ahead to 2024, what are the lessons from history for both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in particular? Joe Biden campaigned for president unsuccessfully in 1988 and again in 2008 before finally winning the White House in 2020, becoming the oldest person ever to hold the office at the age of 78. That immediately raised questions about whether he would seek a second term after 4 years.
I'm a great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain.
We'll soon see what the future holds for Joe Biden. America's first president, George Washington, left office after 2 4-year terms in 1797, and most presidents accepted that precedent for the next century and a half.
3 times, by the will of the people, he renewed his oath as president.
Only Franklin Roosevelt served a full 3rd term and was elected to a 4th before dying in office in 1945.
And now, in his cottage at Warm Springs, FDR has passed away.
In part, in reaction to FDR's death in wartime, the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution was ratified in 1951, stipulating someone can be elected president only twice, as long as they haven't already served more than 2 years of a predecessor's term if they died or resigned.
And so, goodbye, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Historically, most presidents have run again if they could.
And we will win our 2nd term in November.
But there have been a few exceptions. Back in 1844, President John Tyler dropped out of the race when he couldn't secure a major party's nomination. In 1848, Democrat James Polk chose not to seek a second term, which is probably just as well. He died the following year. Rutherford Hayes didn't run again in 1880, having made a single-term pledge after winning a bitterly contested election 4 years earlier. And another 4 presidents who came to office after the death of their predecessor declined to stand in a second election, even when they could. Theodore Roosevelt in 1908, Calvin Coolidge in 1928, Harry Truman in 1952, and Lyndon Johnson in 1968.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
Here's something for Joe Biden to ponder, though. While 17 presidents managed to win more than one election, in total, 11 presidents who've run for a second term have been defeated. President John Adams lost to Thomas Jefferson in 1800. Like father, like son, President John Quincy Adams failed to win re-election against Andrew Jackson in 1828. Martin Van Buren was denied a second term by William Henry Harrison in 1840, although Harrison died after just 31 days in office. In 1888, President Grover Cleveland lost his re-election bid to Benjamin Harrison, old William Henry's grandson. But Cleveland got his revenge 4 years later when he defeated Benjamin Harrison. Other one-term losers: William Howard Taft in 1912, Herbert Hoover in 1932. In 1976, President Gerald Ford got the boot 2 years after taking over when Nixon quit.
By our projection, James Earl Carter, the next president of the United States.
But Jimmy Carter failed to win a second term against Ronald Reagan in 1980. President George Bush was also denied a second term by Bill Clinton in 1992.
So we will get behind this new president and wish him well.
Although Donald Trump took a more novel approach when he lost to Joe Biden in 2020.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
But here's something for Trump to ponder. Grover Cleveland is the only president to suffer a defeat stage a comeback and serve a second non-consecutive term. He's also the only one to seriously try, but Cleveland wasn't impeached twice, falsely claimed the vote was rigged, incite a riot to overturn an election, steal secret documents and face possible criminal indictment. So there's that.